What if your web browser could think for you, writing emails, finding deals, and even watching videos for you? That future just arrived. Okay, what if I told you that OpenAI just dropped a brand new web browser called Atlas? A browser where ChatGPT is literally built into every single web page you visit? That would be a game changer, right? Well, let's just imagine that's exactly what happened. But here's the catch. In this scenario, another browser from Perplexity, let's call it Comet, has already been doing this for months. So I decided to pit these two against each other in some real-world tests. And honestly, the results were not what I expected at all. Let's get into it. We've all been there, right? You're trying to summarize an article, or you've written a clunky email that needs a little polish. And what do? You open a new tab, you go to ChatGPT, you copy your text, you paste it in, write a prompt, copy the answer, and then paste it all the way back. It's this constant annoying dance between tabs, and it just completely breaks your concentration. Well, this new breed of browser is here to kill that tab switching dance for good. Just picture it, your AI assistant lives inside the browser with you. It knows what page you're on, and it's ready to help without you ever having to copy or paste a single thing again. That is the promise. But of course, with a huge promise like that, comes some serious competition. In our little showdown, OpenAI's Atlas is the hyped-up newcomer, the big name on the block, but it's stepping into a ring where Perplexity's Comet is already a seasoned fighter. So the real question is, can the new kid actually take down the champ? We're about to find out. Okay, first things first, let's properly introduce our two contenders. Before you pick your favorite, wait till you see how these two browsers perform when they go head-to-head in real-world challenges. The results might shock you. We'll kick things off with the challenger, the brand new browser from the company that basically started this whole AI craze, OpenAI. So what is Atlas, really? Well, at its heart, it's a browser that's been built from the ground up with ChatGPT baked into its DNA. This gives you a permanent AI sidebar that sees what you see. It lets you have a conversational search that actually remembers what you asked it 2 questions ago. And maybe the craziest part, it can turn your entire browsing history into a personal searchable memory. And to really understand why this matters, just look at this. This is the old way. This is what we do now. To rewrite one little email, you're looking at 6 different steps, jumping back and forth, back and forth. It's inefficient and it's a total focus killer. Now look at this. This is the new way. With Atlas, you just highlight the text, click on this icon that pops up, and tell it what you want. And boom! It's rewriting right there inside the text box. We go from 6 steps down to 1. That is a massive, massive improvement to your workflow. So, to quickly run down the list, Atlas is packing some serious heat. You've got conversational search, an AI that understands the page you're on, that amazing inline writing feature, a searchable memory of where you've been, and even a special agent mode that can automate really complex tasks for you. But like I said, Atlas isn't walking into an empty arena. Perplexity's Comet has been out in the wild for months, constantly improving its own AI browsing experience and building up a solid user base. It promises a pretty similar world of smart automated browsing. So, with the introductions over, it's time for the main event. Alright, now that you've met the contenders, get ready, because the next part is where things heat up. 5 brutal tests, 1 ultimate AI browser showdown. I came up with 5 real-world tests designed to really push these browsers to their limits. We're gonna give them the exact same tasks, run them side by side, and see who comes out on top when it actually matters. Let the challenge begin. Alright, our first test is something many of us do every single day. Taking a quick, casual note and turning it into a professional-sounding email. A super common, practical task. Let's see how they do. Okay, so right away, we see something really interesting. Atlas was smarter off the bat. It understood my messy, vague prompt on the first try and spit out a perfectly good email. Comet, on the other hand, got a little confused and needed me to be more specific. But, and this is a big but, once I gave Comet that clearer prompt, the email it produced was just better. It was more polished. It sounded more human. So because it produced that higher quality result in the end, even though it needed a little help, the first point goes to Comet. The score is 1-0. Let's see what happens in round 2. For our second test, we're doing something that should be a massive time saver. finding one specific moment inside a long YouTube video. No more scrubbing back and forth. I asked both of them to find a specific part of a 20-minute product review. Now this was fascinating to watch. Atlas actually had a smarter approach. It recognized it needed to use its powerful agent mode, and it politely asked me for permission first. Super cool. But then, it got stopped cold by a simple YouTube ad. It just froze. Comet, on the other hand, seems to have an ad blocker built right in. It just cruised past the ad, scanned the video, and found the exact timestamp, while Atlas was still stuck on the loading screen. You know, this just goes to show that in the real world, it's not always about having the smartest approach. Sometimes, practical features win. Comet's ad blocker gave it a huge advantage. It was faster, and it was more accurate. So that's another point for Comet. It's now leading 2-0, and Atlas really needs to get on the board. Okay, test 3. This one is super practical and could actually save you cash. Alright, the underdog is struggling, but don't count it out yet. The next round flips the whole competition upside down. I asked both browsers to find me the absolute best price for an iPhone 17, and I told them to check 3 specific retail websites and include any current deals. And this is where the whole competition just completely flipped on its head. Comet came back with an answer almost instantly, but when I looked closer, I realized it wasn't actually checking the websites. It was just summarizing old news articles about iPhone prices. It was fast, but wrong. Atlas, on the other hand, was much slower because it was doing the real work. It opened each of the 3 sites I asked for, found the product, and pulled the live up-to-the-minute pricing. It was slow, but it was right. For a task like this, accuracy is everything. Fast and wrong is totally useless. Atlas did exactly what I asked. So the point goes to Atlas. The newcomer is finally on the board. It's now 2-1. The comeback could be happening. Alright, next up, we're giving them a much tougher job. I pulled up a company's dense financial report and asked a pretty simple question. How much debt does this company have, and is it a problem? This really tests how they handle complex data. So Comet was faster again, and even presented the data with these nice charts. Atlas was simpler, but it also gave me a number. The problem? As you can see on this chart, the numbers were completely different. And I'm not talking about a small rounding error. It was a huge discrepancy. One might have been reporting gross debt, the other net debt, but neither of them said. And this right here is such a critical lesson about using AI today. For anything high stakes like financial analysis, you just can't blindly trust the output. The AI is an incredibly powerful research assistant. It's a starting point, but it's not the final answer. You still have to do the work and verify. So because of that huge discrepancy, I'm calling this round a draw. No points for either side. And so it all comes down to this, the final test. This is it, the ultimate round that decides everything. Watch closely because the final test reveals who really wins, and it's by far the most complex. It's a multi-step job. First, check my Google Calendar for available times. Then jump over to Gmail and draft a meeting invitation with those time slots. This is a true test of real automation. Wow, the difference here was just night and day. Comet really struggled. It couldn't even seem to read my calendar correctly. And in the end, it just gave up and gave me some text to copy and paste myself. Atlas, though, was flawless. It correctly found the open slots. It jumped over to Gmail. It drafted the entire email. And then, and this part is so important, it paused and asked for my final permission before hitting send. That is true automation with a brilliant built-in safety check. And with that decisive win, Atlas takes the final round, bringing our final score to a 2-2 tie. But hold on, that number, the tie, it really doesn't tell the whole story. Because the way each browser won its points reveals 2 totally different ideas about what an AI browser should even be. So here's the real takeaway. The question isn't which one is better. The question is which one is better for you. If your job is all about speed, quick summaries, and a slick experience for fairly simple tasks, then Comet is probably your best bet. But if you need dead-on accuracy, control, real-time data from live sites, and the power to automate complex, sensitive tasks from start to finish, then Atlas is without a doubt the more powerful tool. You know, what we're looking at here is more than just a new feature. It's a fundamental change in how we're going to use the internet. Your browser isn't just a window anymore. It's becoming your active partner, your co-pilot. So the question I want to leave you with is, now that this power is here, what are you going to build with it? Now that you've seen how AI browsers are rewriting the rules, which one would you choose? The fast and flashy Comet or the powerful and precise Atlas? Comment your pick below and share this with someone who still thinks AI browsers are just hype.